From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. Nick Barris here on a Tuesday. We've got a good show on tap for you. We're going to open up the phone lines and invite you to join in the conversation. We're going to talk about elder care, elder law rather, and that gets into the care field. If you have questions, legal questions, stuff about planning for the future, whether you're dealing with it right now because you're maybe at that stage of your life, or you're like me, maybe dealing with a lot of these issues, power of attorney, questions about whether or not you need to take some control to help with a loved one's life as they age, if they're going through different issues like that. We can get into that. The phone line will be up on the number, and there you see. This morning is sponsored by Takis McGinnis Elder Care Law. Now, Tim Takis is not joining us this morning, but Barbara McGinnis, his partner, is as well, and it's nice to have you on.
Good
How
morning,
are you?
Nick.
I always get a little tongue-tied when I try to describe to our viewers the different types of questions they can ask you, because you are in a specific field of the law, elder care, but it covers so many things.
Right.
What would you say is what you focus on the most with many of your clients? What are some of the primary tasks you deal with?
I'd say a real commonality is that people come to us when they are concerned about chronic care issues or maybe frailty related to advanced age, and there's a care component that they are worried about for their selves, their spouse, their parents or grandparents. Sometimes they don't even know that they have a legal worry. They come to us because they're worried about how they can pay for good care.
Figuring out how to afford to pay, or
finding good care.
Yeah.
What kind of care are they supposed to have? Where are they supposed to have it? And how are they going to get paid for? And of course, they want to do it the right way. So they come to us and say, what do I need to do?
Right. Now, and you and Tim are great at one of the most difficult things about dealing with that, which is, you may have come to the conclusion that your parents need it, but the parents haven't yet.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
They don't know yet that they need the help, okay? What is that phenomenon called? And before you became a lawyer, you were a nurse for years, and now you combine both of those practices. But I mean, it's so frustrating, and I wonder if that's going to happen to you and me when we get older. Are we going to be blinded to the fact that we need some assistance? Not that we're giving up our independence, but we need some assistance. Are we going to continue to insist that we're independent and can take care of ourselves beyond the point that we can? Because that's my folks to a T.
I think we will, because I think that's human nature. I think it's just called denial, that we don't recognize our own
shortcomings, maybe as you get older. If your memory's slipping physically, you need a walker, but you refuse to use one.
We've struggled most of our young life. We struggle to gain independence, and then we spend most all of our life trying to maintain independence. And that's why aging in place is so important to our elders.
What do you mean? Like where
they want to stay in their home.
Darn right.
Absolutely. I'm going to stay in my home. I'm going to die in my bed, and I'm going to continue to take care of myself.
That's just not going to happen.
Well,
there's exceptions, sure. That's not going to happen if you live to a ripe old age. To be by yourself in the home, it's not going to happen. I'm sure there's some exceptions out there, but you all need help. Being by yourself,
I think, is a real key thing in what you said, because a lot of times there are valid care components that can be provided in the home.
Bring in the nursing care. If you have family that helps out, sure, you can set up a home so you could live there.
And it may start out even more basic than that. Home care providers, yard care providers, and if you're a proactive elder or near elder, you start downsizing early and preparing for that inevitability.
Right.
So now you're in a home, you've got those basic needs. Driving may be an issue, a big issue, because if you can't drive in our society, it makes it very difficult to get to doctor's appointments, to get groceries. Though there are workarounds now for the grocery thing.
That's great. That's getting big.
At least in our urban areas, maybe not so much in the rural world. But so hopefully that there are driving substitutes out there, whether it's a family member, friend, church, or Uber in your neighborhood.
Right, Uber's changed things a lot. I mean, you used to think cabs, but now with Uber and Lyft, that's pretty darn affordable. And you can hit them up whenever you really need them. So, all All right, okay, beyond that, and the other issues, legal issues like power of attorney,
Absolutely.
how important that has. That's pretty cool to have. And you know, I've discussed the idea with some folks of conservatorships, which is to me the very last resort. I don't want that responsibility. Talk about the difference between the two.
You know, the other, excuse me, the other day we had a family come in and they met with us, and this man was so prepared for aging. He had his long-term care insurance for himself, for his wife. He had,
awesome.
of course, life insurance policies, pre-need funerals. He had saved well. He had worked very, very hard to make sure that if he were the first to die, which he expected to be, his wife was going to be well cared for, and he'd done this great job. But I'm looking at his plan and I say, you really don't have powers of attorney? And he said, no. And I'm like, that is so surprising, because look at how well you have planned, but you've missed this one component. Having a power of attorney in place, whether you choose it to be effective immediately or effective upon some contingency, is so important. To me, it allows me to stay in control of me. I get to appoint who I want to speak for me. I get to give them the authorities I want to give them, when I want to give it to them, and usually it's going to be your spouse or your children for the most part.
Did he have some people he could give it to, or is this a case of someone?
He had a capable spouse and 2 capable children that were there and willing.
Did it not occur to him, or did he just not want to give it?
It had not really occurred to him that he needed it yet. He was thinking, well, I'm not there yet. And I said, yes, you are. You know, because you never know when you're going to get that surprise. It doesn't mean you need to relinquish all control and just turn over, you know, the checkbook immediately. But it needs to, it's something to put in place.
Now,
I tell people all the time,
there's limits to what it is. I mean, I have it with my folks now.
It can be quite limited.
I mean, well, I guess you can set it up how you want it limited, because my power of attorney is not one where I can raid my folks' bank account. I can write some checks to others for them, and I can deposit stuff in, but if I was an unscrupulous scumbag like some kids are when it comes to their parents and wanted to get in there and steal their money, I can't do that, okay? So power of attorney, whereas a conservatorship, I control them. They're like my child, and I have control of everything, right? It's
different. Not only are you the difference is the person, the conservatee, the person that we're taking care of in that instance, has had their rights removed as an individual, vested in another, that's the conservator, and the entire process is supervised by the court. So if there are doubts about the integrity, character of the potential agent, and you want court accounting, well, then there you go. You've got court accounting. They're going to watch that. But for most families, that's not a necessity. It becomes a necessity due to lack of planning.
Okay, good. Because the truth is, we've had courts and judges that have been slime bags that have abused the conservatorship when they're appointed to it. They're not all good. You better be darn sure who you give it to.
Absolutely.
There are people out there that are just bad. So you make sure you know who you know when you give it, and that's where you guys come into play to help set that up. You know, I mean, Tim's talked about that. I mean, he's told me in the past, and now with you coming on, you have to really put some thought into who is going to be the conservatorship, if it ever comes to that, or to your power of attorney. You have to really trust them, and hopefully they're good people. And
choose wisely. You're not choosing based on the age of your children. Well, he's my oldest, so I'm going to name him. But you're looking for a particular character trait, someone that is willing to spend the time, that they're available to you, that they are going to advocate and speak up for you and do what's in your best interest, that they have enough knowledge about you and your values to know how you would want things managed. I think those are all very important things, because when we're talking about what is good care, and that becomes a part of what is good care, it's that person-centeredness component. So that we never lose sight of who the person is at the center of what services and care we're providing all the time. You know, another way to help manage assets for an older person or a disabled person is through a trust. So sometimes we we use trust can be used for a variety of purposes. Almost as many different things as you can think of that you want to accomplish, you can accomplish with a trust. But asset management for someone who is perhaps having some impaired capacity or disability can be affected through a trust.
Setting up a trust. All right, maybe we'll talk more about that. We also have some phone calls to get to, 737-7587. If you want to jump in, we're just scratching the surface here. Barbara is a wealth of knowledge. And the beauty of it, you know what? The beauty of it is you're willing to share.
Yes.
So she will share more as soon as we come back from this commercial break. Stay with us and give us a call if you want to join us. We have some lines open. If you're on hold, stay there. Your call is coming up next. We'll be right back.